Hello everyone. Today we have the honor of hosting Mr. Shreyas Salve on our show. Shreyas is an exceptional professional whose journey spans various facets of business development, marketing, and engineering. With a strong foundation in engineering like chemical technology, he has seamlessly transitioned into roles that drive business growth and customer satisfaction. Shreyas has held key positions such as Assistant Director of Admissions at CDI College, where his expertise in building client relationships and driving revenue growth has shown through. At ERCO Worldwide, his role as technical sales coordinator showcased his ability to bridge technical support with sales strategies, ultimately enhancing customer satisfaction, sales performance. Shrey is not only a sales and marketing expert, but also a learner, continuously expanding his knowledge with postgraduate degrees in marketing research and analytics, and also in global business development or management from Centennial College and Conestoga College, respectively. We are thrilled to delve into Shreyas' wealth of experience and insights today. So, hi Shreyas, if
Hi, Omkar.
anything missing in introduction, you can add about yourself. Like model of United Nation, I forget to add. You can add
Thank you,
more point
Omkar.
like
Thank you
that.
so much. No, that's enough. Like it was more than enough, I would say. And thank you for your kind words and researching about my profile and looking keenly towards my LinkedIn and getting these all sentences which would really light my day up and people would know me a little bit more. And definitely kudos to you. First of all, foremost thing, like I've seen all of your podcasts and your series which you run. It's really knowledgeable to the people out there who wants to increase their networking skills or look forward towards any of the things which would help them cope up with new skill sets. So kudos to you and your team, Omkar, as well for this.
So my first question is for you. Can you walk us through your transition from technical role in production engineering, like company like Adani, then to a management
Sure.
position in the business development? What motivated this initial shift from engineering to business development?
Sure. Thank you for asking this question because this is all where it all started. I would say back in 2017 when I graduated from our esteemed alma mater, Lakshmana Institute of Technical University, right now deemed to be university. And so when I graduated, I was campus placed in Adani Wilmar Limited as a production engineer. So out there, when I was working, I've worked, I guess, for 1.2, 1.3 years over there. And within that time span, I have shifted from various technological points because my specialization was in food technology. So I was in the FMCG sector of Adani Wilmar. And in that particular process, I got to know that, okay, it's good to have machines around you, good to learn those technical skills which you can implement through application out there through machines and PLCs. But that was not my piece of cake. I felt like that one fine day that, okay, I'm fine with machines, but I guess I'm better with humans rather. So it all clicked over there one fine day. And then I started my journey with Byju's. I worked over there as a business development manager. And that was the transition. And when I came here, I came here just because of pandemic, I would say. That was the trigger point to make me, quit what I was doing and move on towards a certain change, which led me towards this journey, I would say. And it has been pretty good till now so far. And after my graduation from Canada, I started my first job with ERCO as a technical sales coordinator. And then finally, I'm back to education industry and working as an ADO, that is Assistant Director of Admissions.
Engineering to business development in company like Byju's, a really turning point for yourself to
Definitely.
following your passion and all.
Exactly, because
Uh,
I felt like, okay, like machines, I can do it, but I need that zest of connecting
right.
with people around and have that work culture and motivate each other, inspire each other, grow each other. So that was my kind of genre where I felt like I'm good
Yeah.
rather than being a production engineer.
In this transition, what's been the most rewarding aspect of moving into the management?
I would say I am a people's person. I like to be around people. That was one of the important things. And till I was in Adani, the kind of networks I had, it was not as such which I have post, moving from technical background to management. So I would say networking was also key set, because you meet new people, you get to know them, you get to know their skill sets and how you can help each other, rather than just implicate your skill sets out there on the table and do not look for new learnings and knowledge around you. So networking was also one of the key parts which made me transition smoothly rather than an abruptness.
You have successfully managed to bridge the gap between technical expertise and management acumen. What were the biggest challenges you faced during this transition, and how did you overcome them?
I feel challenges are the key points to, to make you more work on that particular stuff. I feel like that, because if you're not challenged, then it's pretty tough to, to gauge something new and learn about it. So challenges I faced initially was definitely I was not my conversation skills or my communication skills or oratory skills were not as good, which was basically before I transitioned from this particular phase, like from point A to point B. In that transition, I feel my communication skills was on better note day by day, and that was the biggest challenge which I faced, because I guess I had a little bit of stage fear kind of inculcated into me. So communication skills was one of my challenge which I faced. I would recommend.
Before moving to the next question, can you explain our audience about model of United Nations? That's not
Sure.
part of our basic questionnaire, but I felt that
Definitely.
this can help our audience to be a part of various MUN chapters.
Definitely. That's a really good note, Umkar. MUN stands for Model United Nations. So, like in MUNs, the way you have seen the governing body of our world, which is UN. So, how various sub branches are there, like UNSC, UNGC, and various other portfolios. So, how this works is like you are been given one of the portfolios to represent a delegate of that particular nation. So first I'll just talk about UN, and then I'll come to Indian entities, which are Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and All India political party. So the first part is international. So in that you are representing as a delegate of that specific country, and issues or the agendas are already been made like before you register yourself in that debating competition. So like an agenda, you need to research, you need to successfully cater your portfolio over there, representing whatever country you are over there. And after doing that, like various sessions are there, like a moderated caucus, unmoderated caucus, the same way UN governing body runs their sessions out there in real world. So this is just a reflection of how the system works and how the things are, how your matters, like key matters, international issues, international politics is been run, how the voting system has been done, how the bills are passed. So it's just a replica of UN, which is there in the real world in this particular section. The other section, which I love the most, is the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and AIPPM. Same way, but this is more about Indian entity, where like you're representing that MP or that MLA of that specific area and putting one of the agendas of the parliamentary session the way Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha runs. So it's a beautiful, what I can say, debating competition. So for example, if anybody is Yogi Adityanath, so his ideology, his research would be according to Yogi Adityanath. It won't be according to the person he is. So it's beautiful thing to learn about somebody and to represent that person over there, your constituency over there, as a representative of lakhs and crores of people of your constituency. I would say like everybody should look upon to various MUNs which happens around them, because definitely every big city like Nagpur, Mumbai, Pune, or any of the other big cities in Maharashtra does cater those MUNs around you. So look for them and do join and motivate yourself with knowing more about the real world and discussing it.
Thank you, Shreyas. Actually, about MUN, I got to know today. Even in our college days, MUN
Yeah.
happens, but I am into I'm not into that groups like where communication happens and involvement into training and placements, or the groups that engage into that cultural activities and all. We are into
Okay.
just passing the subjects. We never focus on MUN and all. So I thought today's young generation, which is are from villager background and all, can do such kind of
Definitely.
activities.
And I would say the core
Follow.
issues or the core discussions are always at the roots. And our roots are to the villages. Still, we have that connect. I still remember the last time when I visited India, like I needed to visit my village and need to go, but I was not able to. So, how I felt, I feel like we are still connected to the roots, and all starts and all happens from the roots. Putting this message and letting them know about it. Like if one of the person just gets inspired and get to know about new stuff and he starts doing it, you never know. Anybody can do
Right.
wonders.
In my college days, I never following my passions, and also don't try to explore something like podcast and all. But after my first and second job, I realized that I'm not doing what I am made for. So I started doing podcasts. I made a network. Today we have a community around 50,000 plus people, which are single person consultant, and many of them are working in good EPC companies.
Kudos,
So
Omkar. I definitely know like what exactly you're doing, and definitely you might have researched about me. So I have also researched about what exactly you do and how that's have started. I have seen you starting with your first podcast, and I guess I have commented on that on the same day. We're like really doing superb job, Omkar. I really appreciate it, and thank you for inviting me today.
then move towards the questionnaire. In that situations like transition from business development director of admission, not in India, but you are working for director of admissions in Canada, or which is a part of US and something. So in that case, how did you approach the problem solving and project management evaluation?
I would say over here, everybody starts from the scratch. Like whatever I have done back home, it was.
Like I will tell one small experience about
Uh-huh.
the
Please go ahead.
admissions and all, because in India there is a lot of difficulties that marketing guys are facing regarding the admissions. This is the reality of Indian education system. Basically, the private colleges, not that top colleges like LIT, NIT or IITs, but that political peoples that like TY Patil, MIT or big name colleges, they are struggling to get the admission done and their for their intake capacity. But you are working in the US, so I asked this question.
I work in Canada, US and Canada, big difference. Though it's in North
Okay.
America, just like my
Yeah.
portfolio is domestic. Domestic in
Yeah.
the sense, just I'm just helping students getting to know
Okay.
what career path they should choose, because
Okay.
ultimately it's an counseling role, it's an advisory role. Where like students come to me for their inquiry, and as an assistant director of admissions, I work in 4 to 5 different fields, like business management, healthcare sector, then IT, that is information technology. Then we have some programs related to immigration as well, and community services. So community services in this social worker certifications and programs. So in these 5 categories, like I'm helping students to know according to their interest points. So whatever they want to go ahead with, or they feel like, oh, I can do this particular program, so can you help me let know all of the information? That's what my portfolio is. Like I've seen so many students, like they've completed their high school 15 or 20 years ago, and right now they have worked in the construction industry or in the hospitality industry, and after 10 to 15 years they're feeling like, no, I don't want to do this. I want to look for some second career. I need to look for something new. I need to add up. So I've seen those students coming to me and asking me for a helping hand. So what exactly will suit them the best? If somebody likes science and they are more about in their high school 10 years ago or 5 years ago, whenever they have completed, they're like, okay, I used to love biology. Used to love some of the science part, like physics or whatever their specificity might be. So accordingly, I help them let know the programs, because as I've told you, like we counsel, like I help counsel them in 5 categories, all of the categories. So if somebody says like, no, I love to help people, I love to, help them in a certain way, provide a helping hand whenever people around me need. So I see that philanthropic mindset where I can let them know about some of the social worker programs like addictions and community services or child and youth services worker program, right? So it's all about a personal value. It's all about a personal, area where what exactly that individual wants to do on the ground. It's not about just counseling them and helping get an admission in our college. It's not about that. It's about changing life through education. That's what our tagline is. Because if somebody is motivated enough to start with something new, as a counselor, my job should be helping them to let know the right information about the programs which will suit them the best, not the student will suit the program the best. It's always the either way. So what you like, that's what the ground basic value which we follow. So I feel initially, like when I was working in Byju's as well, I used to meet students who are not that financially good or not that viable enough to to look for the financial options to buy that particular product. So it all starts with the core value. And I have seen, working in the education industry, that people are concerned about just two important things. I would say the first is the education and second is the career. Because while you're like, at least in our part, in our area in India, education is the priority of every parent for their of. They won't look for like how much money they are investing on that particular children's education. Wherever they're sending to the best institute, they're sending to the best schools, if possible, whatever would be possible for them and from them. For the children, like they will do the best, but they won't buy you stuff like luxury items like your toys or any of the other stuff. They would conceive or they would concede you over there. They will keep a barrier, but in education part, they won't look for like how much they are spending money. And that my ideology, that mindset is not just in India; it's everywhere, all around the world. If somebody wants to get educated, he or she doesn't look for money, or he or she doesn't check out on like how will I pay, how will I look for that. He just wants to, or she just wants to go ahead and get educated. So I feel personal motivation and getting to know the core values were the two problem solving skills which I have learned being in the education industry. I won't blame anybody. I would tell one of my own personal experiences, because I'm a chemical engineer as well, but I don't work in the chemical industry or in the technological industry, because I got to know while doing engineering, or once I completed and started with my first job as a production engineer, that this is not for me. And this feeling, if an individual gets in any area that he's not vibing in, or that energy is not channelized towards what exactly you want to do, or like if you're doing something, if you're able to put your 100% efficiency into it or not. So I feel I was just doing it for the sake of doing it, right? Because every day, every new thing which you do, which you won't like, which you like, whatever it is, like everything is a learning. I feel like every moment is all about getting to know that stuff, and then decide that if you want to do it or not. Before doing it, don't decide what you want to do and what exactly you don't want to. So I feel doing your karmas, just doing it is your stuff. That's what your thing is. Like, not deciding onto the fact that you're getting that exact result which you were looking for, it's not a point. Because it happens so many times. Like for me, at least, I have experienced by myself that okay, if I wouldn't have started with production engineering like in the Adani Wilmar, I wouldn't have understood what exactly I want to do. Because that made me think that question mark got bigger and bigger, and I was made to be curious about and find that answer of why I don't want to do this, and why I want to do management programs or management courses or management jobs. So to start forward with, like many people like me maybe just might have that particular number which you have mentioned right now, that just doing it for the sake of doing it, because that's what have started, right? Because in 11th and 12th grade, I feel you're not clear enough due to many things around you, that what exactly you want to do. I've seen so many friends of mine that they have completed their chemical engineering, they have worked in the industry as well, and now he is like full-time music teacher. Like, it's all about passion. And once you gather that courage that okay, you can do, if you can do what you don't like, then definitely you would like what you want to do as a passionate job or passionate work around you. And coming to your first question about why students are moreover shifting, or like the students intake in the colleges are not that much in India the way it was back like 5 to 6 years ago or 10 years ago. The reason behind it is like pandemic. The first reason is pandemic. I will explain why. And second reason, because I've read an article about it, so that's why I'm able to put these insights in front of you. So first reason is pandemic, and the second reason is related to people getting to know, they are getting aware about, like there are so many things apart from engineering and being a doctor only, right? Because kind of internet revolution came in India back in 2015, 2016. Like now you can just have everything on your phone. You can learn anything, you can know anything. If you want to know which college is the best, like, or which courses around me can connect with my passion points, so internet can give you all of the things just onto your fingers. So the first thing is like people, they're getting aware about, there are not just the two slits to a tanga ghoda, that they are just able to see straight. Like there are things to their left, right, up and down. So people are getting aware. That's why maybe the number of seats which were there onto a college 5 to 10 years ago, all of them are not getting fulfilled, because that number was crazy. People were not knowing about like what they want to do. Now people are getting to know that what they exactly want to do. And the initial thing which I mentioned about pandemic, so pandemic was a phase which I feel where everybody got triggered to a point. Okay, this is a good pause. Everything is stuck for like 6 to 7 months initially. Nothing. You were working from home. If you are a production engineer, you yourself might be working from home, or you won't be visiting to your industry for like 5 to 6 months. So many things happened. Everything was on pause. So people were able to think, okay, if I can pause something for 6 months and still sustain, so I need not have to do it forever to just sustain my life, or to just get that monthly salary at the end of the month, or any of the other things which are correlated to that. So that pause, in an analogy, I would say that 2 second extra you got to think about yourself, rather than just moving into a loop from 9 to 5, or like whatever shifts you're working in ABC, right? So it was a pause, and people were able to get out of the box thinking out there, and post everything was normal, everything was resumed. People started to explore that thing which they did for 6 months of pause, in that particular time, as a passionate human being. Like my own sister, she started her business, Hoop and Sew, in pandemic, and now she has around like 240 or 250K followers in Instagram, and she's doing it like with my mom as a supporting role, and they both are doing tremendous job. I feel like kudos. She's just 23, and like she has created a huge empire. I would feel her own empire of handmade products. So pretty much pandemic give that pause and just to change and work towards your goal point, rather than just do it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah. Nice summarization, Shreyas. Actually, I am trying to conclude these questions from 3 to 4 months, but I think you concluded it very well. Thanks for doing it for me.
Welcome.
Next question is how have your technical background and skills in chemical technology or food technology, or in what you learn in Adani in your initial days? What these things from engineering contributed to your success in sales, marketing, and business development?
So I always like numbers. I was not very good in mathematics, but I always like numbers. I mean, I can see patterns and like little bit an analogy with the equations and the numbers. So I feel that mindset of getting to know numbers and relating yourself with mathematics was been given to me being an engineer. And any of the things, if you can feel, that can be equated, that can be put into numbers, and you can feel that analogy of the real world which you can do and which you think in your mind. So pretty much that mindset of being organized and methodical at the same time was been given by engineering, just because I like numbers, I would say, in a simple way.
Can you please provide some examples about any technical knowledge which is directly influence your strategic business decision in your role in sales coordinator or a business development manager, or now what you are doing about the consulting and all?
Sure. So when I was working with ERCO, because ERCO produces sodium chlorate and sodium chloride, so two of the important chemicals for the dye and ink industry and paper industry at the same time. So basically, like ERCO has been in the business of making sodium chlorate and chloride since 125 years. So it's a huge number. It's been more than a century, I would say. They are making these chemicals and making papers and providing these chemicals to the paper industries out there, paper mills out here. So pretty much I was working in the technical services department. In that, to be precise, I was handling the spare parts department, where we had so many customers since like 125 years. So I would say whatever customers they have built in throughout this time span, so that's a huge number. So definitely they have their own paper mills, and while you're doing auditing of the industry or you're checking in with the boilers, condensers, heat exchangers, that what exactly you need to audit and you need to check when the maintenance time comes. So in that phase, if something is needed as a spare part to those machineries or any of the process lines, so they used to contact me. So I feel like getting to know as a chemical engineer, I knew what exactly I'm working in, how this spare part, like any of the flange or any of the gasket or any of the we had some of the platinum wirings or platinum coated nozzles which need to be replaced in the heat exchanger, or it need to be replaced in the mixer. So because that was platinum, it was expensive. So definitely one platinum nozzle like costed around 3,000 to 4,000 USD, one small nozzle. So definitely you need to make sure that the person who is looking for those spare parts, which we have it in the inventory, has to know what that significance of that platinum nozzle is. So engineering gave me this mindset of letting know the process line. I was learning flowcharts out there. I've learned flowcharts in my training. I've learned the first process line, how we make sodium chlorate from the raw chemicals out there. So getting to know the flowchart, then getting to know the equipments which are being used in the process industry, and then I was shifted in the after training I was shifted in the spare parts department and handling OEMs, if you might know, like other equipment manufacturers. So I was handling OEMs, getting tenders, sending them invoices, getting those products in my warehouse, and then used to send it to the respective customer to to get it replaced as soon as possible when the request was generated. So discussing it with the engineering team and the sales and marketing team, that was the linkage which I was having out there. So I feel if I didn't have the engineering background, I was not able to look for the PNIDs or the process diagram for any of the process lines which are there. So that helped me, I would say, and that was the only reason I was hired, I guess, because I'm a chemical engineer. So pretty much, if I wouldn't have those skill sets, I wouldn't have worked over there. So ultimately, everything is connected.
Yeah. How do you ensure that your technical teams or sales and marketing teams or some other departments are working cohesively, given your background in both the areas or your background from technicals as well as marketing and business developments?
So pretty much that was well organized because that company has been there in the industry since a really long time. So they know, every department knows their stuff properly. And I have also completed one of the projects over there where I was working with the sales and marketing team specifically rather than engineering team, because I have completed marketing research and analytics. So I did a business analysis of the spare parts which we have sold since 1980s. Okay. So I took out the data since when the technology was inculcated in the company. I guess the first data which we had in the Excel sheet was from 1982 or 1980. So 1980 to 2022, whatever spare parts have been sold to a specific customer, to a specific client, whatever it might be huge equipments like heat exchangers or condensers or mixers or the platinum nozzles, whatever it might be. So whatever has been sold to them, we had a data of that specific customer, of the product, the price, and the fluctuations between the prices and the customer ask. For example, in 2015, somebody was asking for 250,000 flanges. I'm just giving a vague number right now. And post-pandemic, what happened exactly? Why that industry slowed down? So that analysis, which helped the sales and marketing team to boost onto specific areas. So I did this project of doing business analysis from 1980 to 2022 spare parts, which were the prominent customers pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. Why they are not buying that much from us? Why? What exactly made them think about to go to our competitors or any of the other industries for the same? So that made much more of a sense. I would say that data spoke by itself. So you just need to be a storyteller out of the data which you have. So I guess that also created that cohesiveness which you were talking about, that I knew which customer needs what in what timeline, and over here I knew what type of product, what specification or what invoice is saying according to the notification of the customer, and then I have to send it to the engineering team regarding the same. So that cohesiveness, because I knew how we are selling, whom we are selling, and how much we were selling and now we are selling, and I
Yeah.
knew which team works on what diagram, which team works on what technicalities. So it was a cohesiveness and cohesion between both of the departments. I think that was the cohesion.
Okay. So this data analytics and marketing research, how these skills leverage that your management context to drive the business growth?
Sure. So, for example, as I was mentioning, that if one customer is buying N number from you from 2010 to 2016, and after 2016 that customer is not buying that N number which they used to buy for 6 to 10 years, whatever number it might, right? So that N number was reduced to N minus 1 post pandemic, for example, or post 2016. So what was the reason behind that N minus 1, rather than they are buying N which they were buying, or more than the N plus N number which is N plus 1? So they were not buying N plus 1, they were not buying N. Till that time company would definitely have problems, that customer acquisition, it's reducing day by day. And who speaks about the acquisition numbers, or the what sale value you're putting in, and how much was it, and the number, how that number is fluctuating with the timeline. So the number speaks itself, that that customer was buying good before 2015, but post 2015 that customer is not buying that number which they were buying. So specifically our team can research about why they are not buying. Our customer service team might contact them, might ask them that, okay, what's the reason, or if your production, and if the customer just shut down some of the businesses, you get to know about that as well, right? Because that industry knowledge, or that those trends working around your customers, working around your industry is important. So with business analysis, I would feel you get three important notes. The first one is the trends around you, around your business, like how the trend is going 10 years back, 5 years back, 2 years back, and right now, and what might be the prediction. The second point is prediction, predictive analysis based on to the data which you have provided. Because if customer has been there with you since 20 years, so you can analyze that that customer buys this much, they need it in this month, they need it in this number. So you need to be ready with your other equipment manufacturers with that particular, procurement, and then send it towards the customer. So it gives you predictive analysis so that you are ready enough. You won't be, anybody, if for example, if I'm selling apples and you want to buy apples from me, you'll contact me, and I'm saying it to you that I will send you the apples after 1 month, because I need to buy it from, or I need to harvest it from my farm. So you would feel like, okay, I'll check out with some other vendors as well, and I will look for them who are giving me right away, right now, or like within 2 days, right? So that predictive analysis helps you to get ready for the number of sale which you're going to make, or number of numbers which you will be generating from specific customers. And the third important note is the sale analytics, like how you're selling and which department might be lacking around what number. So these three important notes you get it from business analysis, I feel, and it's very important. So
Yeah. So reflecting on your journey, what has been the most unexpected skills that you had learned into the transition from technicals into the management?
So I would say, Omkar, like I would just rephrase this. I haven't learned anything unexpected. Everything was unexpected, I would say, because learning is unexpected. You never know
Yeah.
what you would learn at what time. So specifically mentioning about this learning part, every day is a learning. Right now, whatever we are talking about, like you might have learned something from me. I have learned something from you. Got to know about what kind of trends going on around. What are the other platforms which are there, or for any kind of things which you need it right now. So I feel learning is a part and parcel of your life for sure. It's just like somebody manages to look towards learning, somebody manages to look towards learning after some time, but everybody learns. Every
Yeah.
bad or good note is a learning part, I feel, and you cannot skip learning. You can just unlearn anything, and basically believe in yourself to get something new. Because I feel if you feel like this stuff, you won't add anything else to your mindset. So I would never say in my life, because I got to know that if you say something that I know this, so you get to know the real stuff, I would feel. Because if you don't know anything, then only you would learn something new. I feel like that, because
Yeah.
it doesn't work in a way where you are just inculcating or you're just intaking. You need to give it out as well. You need to share that knowledge point, because I feel knowledge knowledge and power are two important things which increases when you share. So like without sharing, these two things are, it's just like a stagnant water where mosquitoes can grow. So I feel,
Yeah.
yeah. So basically, like sharing is caring in these two categories, and knowledge, it's a part of learning. So pretty much.
Yeah. Is there any memorable activity or some projects or some kinds of things from your graduation days that still having the influence in your life?
Yeah, I would say hostel life was one of the important part because I've never lived out of my home. So most of my learnings or management skills, I would say, came from hostel. Looking towards 50, 100 people around you, and everybody is different. That was the beautiful part about that. And I guess the first learning starts from hostel. Like any college, if you're living in hostel, it starts from there. Like that is the point which make you feel isolated enough to think about yourself for the first time in your life. Because if you're home, there are people around you, there are your closed ones who will never let you be alone. But when you're living in hostel, you get some of the time in that daily routine that where you're alone, you feel bored, or you would feel like, okay, I have nothing to do, or like no one to talk to, or whatever it might be. So that isolation, that thinking about yourself or getting to know about yourself more, it all started from hostel. And my highlight of engineering was hostel, I would say. Like it was never
Yeah.
studies.
So how do you keep yourself updated with the latest trends?
Like I feel till first year I was into a zone that I need to study, to be frank. But post first year, when I got to know that okay, there are so many other things, or like those are the important things rather than just being a bookworm. So I started exploring things around me, started adding so many co-curricular activities around me, started meeting so many people around me, and getting to know things which suited me the best in a way. Like for example, if somebody is playing on the ground, like I used to join in, right? Without, I have bunked so many classes, I would say, for cricket. Like we used to play on the ground, and there was a lecture going on in the college, but I've bunked those lectures. I felt it. Like some people have graduated from their 4 years, but they have never bunked a class or something like that. So they don't know this feeling, I would say. Just kidding. So basically, adding on to a point that okay, if I love something, if I want to get something, I need to explore things around me. You cannot just be focused on to just one thing and not get updated with around the surrounding around you, and upgrade yourself in those skill sets or skill set points where you need to be aware about or vigilant about the area which you are in that moment. So yeah.
What hobbies or interests outside of your work help you bring a fresh perspective every day?
I would say sports. Sports was one of the important part of my life, has been a part of my life, because I feel like if you are a sportsman, if you have that sportsman spirit, you never lose on anything. If you lose as well, then I feel like you always learn something rather than feeling like a loser when you are defeated, or when you are onto your down stage in your life or low stage in your life. So pretty much sportsman has that zest to come back and to start with new if you have a sportsman mindset. Second important thing sports gave me was leadership. I go if I'm I wouldn't say perfect, or like I wouldn't say like very good in something, but if I'm better than two people around me in something, and they want me to do this thing, so taking that leadership stance, taking that first step before anybody, and if people are following you, then like letting them know as well that they are with me, they are in the same team, and we are going on the same path, and I will help you if I can do better in some of the areas. So those leadership skills as well, like I guess was added due to sports. And apart from that, I like music. Like I'm a bathroom singer, so yeah, that's it. I like reading
Could
as
you
well. Like
please
I started inculcating this habit in Canada once I came in Canada.
could you please tell us about a mentor or some colleagues who significantly influence your career?
Uh, in every phase, there were so many people, Omkar. Like I would tell you, there is not a specific person who has, pretty much impacted and changed my life altogether. There are so many people who impacted so many things in my life and changed me, or like changed from point A to point Z altogether. So I won't specify anybody individual person's name, because there are so many people around me that impacted so many things. So it would be unfair enough if I'm just taking one or two people name out there.
Yeah. So about the reading that you shared, you started new hobby in Canada. What recent book or article that inspired you professionally?
I would say Ikigai was one of the impactful book which helped me get to know so many things about purpose, what exactly your purpose of life is, because Ikigai means purpose of your life. So that book really helped me a lot, and I'm just reading like recently. It has been, I guess, 15 days I haven't continued, but I'm reading this book. Like it's by Ed Yong. Like it's a Pulitzer Prize winner, if you can see, an immense world. So in this book, it says around like how an animal looks, or their perspective is like the way you as a human being look world around you, how an individual animal look around their world accordingly. So it's about
Yeah.
a super book. Like you're able to learn about, for example, dogs can only see black and white colors. So many animals are there, they can just see in one color palette. They are not able to gauge any other colors, how they look, how they go for food. As an individual, as a first person view, you are an animal, and how you would do things around you. That's what this book is. So it can
Yeah.
make you more humble, I would say. Like anybody can be made humble once you read this book and start reading about like how an animal's perspective is.
Yeah. So coming to the last question, my last question is, what is the biggest thing you want to achieve in your career?
Very tough question, Omkar. Seriously, I would say I don't know what I want in my life. That would be my honest answer. Because I guess just a one quick note on this. I feel if you're looking for something big, and if you're just looking for the long term goals, so many things happen to get that long term goal that it changes altogether. That long term goal is not anymore your long term goal. It's all
Yeah.
changes. So I feel making short term goals and achieving those small happy points is the key to get something big which you haven't expected at all. So like I don't have long term goals or something like that. I always keep small happy points as a checkpoints, and I try to achieve those and just be happy. So and be a better human every day whenever I wake up.
Yeah. I like that attitude.
Thank you, Omkar.
Yeah. So on that note, we are ending this session. So thank you for your time from your schedule.
No worries at all, Omkar. And thank you for inviting me. And I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. And I was glad to, conversate about the experience of both of us, like how you have started this journey, how maybe you might have got some points from my journey. So it's always give
Yeah.
and take, as I was mentioning. So kudos, like you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
And try to, help at least those who want that kind of help in any way or any portfolio. So like you're doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you.